are just down by your sides. And go ahead and reach those fingers just gently down towards the floor. That's lovely. Just easing those fingers down towards the floor. Lengthening, of course, the shoulders away from those earlobes and just trying to make some space at this neck area, okay? And we're also going to think about the space that we're creating through the whole of the spine, not just the cervical spine here in the neck, but allowing yourself to think of the space through the midsection of this rib cage, okay? We've got the lovely spine there, the thoracic spine area, and then down through towards the base of your spine, the lumbar area here at the base of the spine. So try and think of the whole of that spine having a bit of a stretch up towards the ceiling. And if you can combine that with the breath in, so you're breathing in and growing nice and tall, just lifting through the crown of the head in your mind's eye, getting a little bit of a stretch in between each of those vertebrae, the soft tissue, just having a little moment just to stretch up towards the sky as you inhale. Of course, we're nicely grounded under the soles of the feet, making sure you can feel a little bit of a touch point underneath the toes. Perhaps they need a little bit of a wiggle just to relax them if you're feeling you're gripping the floor at all. And you're conscious and aware that there's a sense of response underneath the balls of the feet, the heels of the feet, and even perhaps a slight response down the outside edge of the foot, between the little toe, that area on the edge between the little toe and the heel. That edge there, just making sure as well you can feel that and not rolling in too much to the center of those feet, okay? So connection right from the edge all around the whole of the sole. We're nice and relaxed through the ankle, through the knee, through the hip joints. And again, our arms are just reaching down towards the floor. Breathing in through the nose. And try and practice that lateral thoracic breathing, this breathing left and right, broadening this upper thoracic area, which is our rib cage area. I like to visualize it like a large bird cage there, and you're allowing it to just have a nice stretch out towards the side of you as you're looking down, of course, on this bird cage. You can see the front, the sides, and the back, okay? And they're just expanding as you breathe and just contracting as you do breathe in, out. The right way around, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're also going to engage now with the core. So as you exhale, start to think about that lovely wrap around of the muscles of this midsection as you exhale. We can just ask them to contract in and give that center of your body a bit of a hug. Okay, so you're thinking of that lovely inner trunk of muscles around the vertebrae, and then of course our lovely rotational exterior trunk muscles around the outside layers of this trunk section. Exhaling, also engaging the pelvic floor. Last on our little bit of to-do list on our setup as you exhale, we're not only coming in through the center, but drawing up under the pelvic floor, just to kind of wake up that stabilizing base layer, if you like, of the pelvis. And one more breath in, growing nice and tall, broadening through our rib cage. As you exhale, shrinking through the center, up through the pelvic floor area. And then bring yourself back into the room. Okay, so we've tidied up our bodies. You need to continue to check back into that tidiness through the whole of the session, okay, such is our key for Pilates. We're going to go ahead and start ourselves with a lovely little roll down. So hands down by your sides, soften the knees if you wish, okay, so just a gentle soften of the knees, or straight leg for roll down, tucking your chin into your throat space. Belly stays in fairly nice and tidy away, and you're going to chin roll down the front of that sternum or chest plate, allowing the shoulders to stay slightly sliding down, okay, so don't slump them up by the ears quite yet, rolling down towards your maximum range, which may be your knees, maybe your shins, it may be your toes or feet, and just try and let the head go as well. We tend to hang the head out forwards, like we're stretching, we're trying to reach forwards. Let the head go so the cervical spine gets to stretch too. Weight slightly in the balls of the feet, yes, so you're not pushing the bottom out too much and lifting the toes. Front of the feet, please. Bringing the belly in, bring up the pelvic floor, that underneath layer as well, under the pelvis, and then slide the shoulders back down. Belly in, pelvic floor nice and strong and controlled here. So you're reeling back up, but supporting the lower spine as you restack. Okay, breathing in. Exhale, imagine yourself peeling off a wall behind you, each vertebrae getting its chance to pull off the wall and roll down after the next and the next and the next, rolling down to your maximum range. And just hang out here for a moment. You're probably feeling maybe a little bit tight at the back of the hamstrings. If that's too much for you, again, soften the knees, just to maybe take off that intensity, letting the head hang. And just noticing and be aware of that tummy space. You can bring it right in and away, almost creating a lovely arch or a cave shape at the front of that belly. Then the pelvic floors come in as a support system, and we slide the shoulder blades down our back as we start to restack, chin staying towards your chest, And that indeed is the last bit to come up, and eyes are on the horizon. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and take ourselves down into 4-point kneeling. So just gently down onto your knees. Do pop any cushions under your knees if you wish to, if you've got any soreness on the knees or at the front of the kneecap, the patella, if you want to just support that too, go ahead. Okay, so we're going to be just in 4-point kneeling just to begin with. Make sure for me, if you can, that you really probably can't see those feet. If you look down and you can see the feet are gathering together between the knees there, just go ahead and widen them. And a little breath in and just a refresh of your postural checkup. Yes, so your shoulder blades are down, the belly is slightly in and engaged, and the neck is long still. We're not too hung down with that neck there. Okay, just breathe in for me. And as you exhale, not only is the belly coming to spine, just press that right shin into the mat and just feel like you're pressing a little bit more into the indent in front of the knee, right down to the front of the foot, and then relax. Breathe in, exhale, and pressing the left front of the shin into the mat. Let's just wake up those lower limbs a little bit with our intention. Breathe in, exhale, just pressing from the knee down to the foot on the right-hand side into the mat. And breathe in and exhale, pressing on the left-hand side. Pausing there in neutral, no particular press on either side. We're going to breathe in, exhale, and just lift your left hand and touch your right shoulder for me. And place the left hand back down. Breathe in, switching sides, lifting your right hand, just touching your left shoulder. And just have a little bit of a think about how much you're moving through the whole of the rest of the torso. Okay, so there should be no movement of the bottom back towards the heels. There should be no great shift to the side. Okay, you're trying to keep everything perfectly still and stacked. Tummy really nice and controlled as we switch from side to side. Now we're going to make a bit of a change. So pause there with the hands down. Again, no movement of the torso, so you're not coming forwards or backwards or going to side. We're just going to lift your right hand and touch your left knee, just reaching across. It might not get to the knee, might just be to the thigh area, and come back down. And just feel the messages as the muscles just move around this midsection, okay, and shifting across the diagonals. As you shift from side to side, you'll feel that gentle rocking, the gentle engagement of the outer trunk of those muscles. Okay, as you just shift the weight from side to side one more time. Okay, so that's woken up a few of the message to the midsection. Let's have a little bit more focus on our upper body and shoulders. Turning your right hand now so your little finger is just resting on the edge, palm faced in. Again, keeping this lovely set position in the 4-point kneeling in the torso. Take your right arm forwards and sliding it towards the front edge of the mat. Not lowering the shoulder, not twisting in any way whatsoever. We're now going to take our right hand, lift it slightly up towards your shoulder height or your chin or your cheek. And then we're starting to now think there will be a little rotation. We're going to lift that arm higher towards the sky, lifting your shoulder slightly out of alignment, and follow the arm with your gaze as you let the arm circle round behind you, skimming over your buttocks, and then it comes back into the 4-point kneeling where we're switching to the other side. On the left-hand side, little finger facing in, the palm facing the opposite side. Okay, so you're extending your left arm forwards. Currently, shoulders are nice and stable and horizontal to the floor. Now we lift our arm towards our maximum range, and we don't lose that shoulder parallel to the floor position. Then breathe in, exhale, lifting your arm towards the sky. Lift the shoulders now. Feel the rotation through the whole of the torso, skimming the hand over your side of your thigh and back to center. One more time, either side, sweeping forwards with the fingertips. Breathe in, exhale, lift. Pause, breathe in, exhale as you lift the arm up and over. Feel the twist through the spine, through the torso. One more time on the left, breathing in, exhale forwards. Breathe in and exhale to shoulder height. Wonderful. Breathe in, exhale, up and over. Just baby chunks as we just break it all down and pause here. Okay, we're going to just take a little bit of weight off the wrists now. I'd like you to think about your right elbow, just the right elbow. It's going to come down to the mat directly underneath the side or your shoulder. So you're not coming out towards the edge of the mat, it's directly underneath your body or shoulder and just touches down towards the mat if you can get there. And then you come back up to center. Breathe in, left elbow heads down towards the mat, kind of halfway between the heel of the hand and the knee on that side. So you're working the parallel planes to the long edge of your mat there. Breathe in, exhale. So again, we're getting some movement through the shoulder, but of course through the trunk, and maybe a little bit more through that lumbar, okay, between that lower area of your spine. Okay, and one more time, either side, breathing in, exhale, and breathe in, exhale. Okay, so here's a bit of a challenge. We're going to attempt now to have both elbows down towards the floor at the same time. To do this, I'd like you to start off by thinking about the movement you have available to you at the elbows in a rotational sense. We all know they bend, but let's have a little bit of a think about how much you can rotate them. So I want you to have a think if you can roll your elbows outwards so that you can start to see the inside of the elbow joint. Okay, so let's just explain that one more time. When you're currently in your 4-point kneeling position, you can probably see kind of the edge of your elbow. Okay, they're going to now breathe in and you exhale and rotate the shoulder blades slightly rolling around so you can see the inside edge of the elbow joint here on the inside here. Okay, so that will help us with our direction of travel. Once you've done that small rotation, we're now going to breathe in and our elbows are going to head towards the mat in the same place that you had a moment ago. Yes, the bottom will move slightly towards the back of the mat, but I don't want you to collapse into the hips or the knee joint. Just touching the elbows down, come back up into your start position. A gentle rotation of those elbows and shoulders outwards, and then the elbows track down towards the mat directly underneath you, or as much as you can towards the middle of your body. Yes, so what I'm trying to avoid, guys, is these elbows heading out towards the side. This is not a push-up. Okay, this is just a shoulder blade pull down, an elbow roll out, and elbows releasing down towards the mat. Okay, this next time I'd like you to just pause with the elbows down towards the mat, pausing here. Okay, so if you're not all the way to the mat, that is fine. Just go ahead and hang out here for a second. Now I'd like you to now take your right hand and just slide it forwards to the front edge of the mat. Wonderful. Slide it back in. Breathe in. Exhale, left hand sliding forwards. Now try not to reach too far that you then again misalign your body. So you're going to be thinking of these shoulders staying in parallel to the short edge of the mat as you slide left and right. Breathing in. Exhale, slide. And back and slide. And slide. Pausing here, bring yourself back up into 4-point kneeling and go ahead and take yourself down into triangles now. So your weight is completely off the wrists and you're divided the weight now. Obviously, we've spread the weight through the elbows to the forearms and indeed the hands. You can just cut one and touch it over the other. Try, however, not, as soon as you go into triangles, to just slump the head down and the shoulders and the chest down in between your arms, okay? You're thinking of still keeping that engagement of the rib cage lifted and your neck is long. Okay, so please can you extend for me your right leg out towards the back of the mat and your toenails are down. I'd like you to just press on those toenails for me a little bit. Okay, so just a little bit of a press into the floor. And bring that knee back in underneath you. Tummy's in tight. Let's avoid that lower dumping into the spine. Yeah, left foot now slides away and press into the front of that left foot. And then back in underneath you. One more time, either side. Breathe in, exhale, right foot away, sliding in, press. Feel all the rest of the leg joining in. Yes, all the front of that thigh, front of the hip flexor area, front of the hip, I should say, as well as the front of the quads as well. And indeed the knee joint and perhaps over the ankle too. Pausing here, extend your right leg away, reach that right leg towards the back of the mat and toenails are down. We don't need to press too much here. Now we're going to lift that leg towards the ceiling and lower back down. Breathing in, exhale, we've got 4 more. And down, and 3, and down, and 2, and down, and 1, and down. Pausing here with the foot on the floor, I'd like you to slide this leg out towards the far right of your mat, so you're up to a diagonal again. So you haven't actually shifted the hips. You're not trying to crunch on the right hand side, and then you come back to center. Breathing in, exhale out to the side, and center. 3 more to the side, and center, to the side, and center. Pausing out to the side. Lifting your leg now towards the ceiling. At that back right corner of the mat, we then lower, tap the floor. Breathe in, exhale, lift, and lower, and lift. Now, as this gets a little bit more challenging, I think the left side of you will be pushing out towards the left side of the mat, or maybe there's a wonk going on. Keep that tummy pulling in tight. Shoulder blades pulling back and down. Last one, and slide your leg back into center. Bring your knees underneath you and just settle back in child's pose for a moment, pausing bottom back to the heels or wherever is comfy. If you have got a hangover of last week's cushion hanging around, not if you have got a hangover, but if from last week you have got a carryover from last week, popping that cushion under your bum if you want to, or under your forehead if you found that was nice. And then gently bringing yourself back into your triangles. Okay. Shoulder blades back and down. Remember, belly is in nice and tight. Go ahead and let the left leg extend out towards the floor. Have a little word to the front of the foot so you know that you're pressing slightly down on those toes and you're not rolling that foot out in any way. You're perfectly in parallel to the long edge of your mat. Go ahead and lifting that left leg towards the ceiling and lowering that left leg down. Breathe in, exhale, lift and lower. Tummy's in tight, just to avoid that arching. So tempting to just continue to lift that leg. Yes, and you get that arch and dump into the right hip socket. We don't want to do that. You'll stay nice and light through the core, space in that supporting hip socket on the right. So you're really trying hard not to dump over to the right-hand side or switch to the right too heavily, and pausing down towards the floor. In readiness now to just slide the leg so it's down on the floor, you're going to breathe in, exhale, slide the leg out towards that left corner of the mat and back in. Breathing in, exhale away to the left corner, sliding only to begin with and back in, and out towards the side and in. Last two to the side and in. Final one to the side and in. Okay, pause, regroup, belly in, shoulder blades back, necks are long. Take the leg out to that back corner of the mat on the left-hand side, and we're going to lift the leg to the ceiling and lower. Tap down with a breath in, exhale, lift, and lower. We've got 4 more, and lift, and lower, well done, and lift, and lower, and lift, and lower, and final one. Drawing that leg then underneath, back underneath you into your child's pose, rest position. Seeing how you feel this time, just easing the bottom back towards the heels and go ahead and press into the palms of the hands. So you're actually just getting a bit of purchase on that mat and a push of the bottom a little bit more deeply in towards the heels if you can. Okay, and sinking the head down towards the mat. As always, if that's not comfortable for you, please just have the bottom hovering slightly up towards the ceiling. If it's uncomfortable around your knees, your hips, or your shoulders, the elbows can rest down if that's more comfortable as well. And then when you're ready to peel yourselves back up, gently walk your hands back to the knees. Okay, swiveling those feet now round towards the other end of the mat, the front short edge of the mat. We'll lie ourselves down. So rolling down onto the mat, just gently taking your feet up towards your heels and palms are face down the mat by your side. Okay, so just go ahead and breathe in, exhale. As you find your form, your position. We talked a little bit about a neutral spine way back week 1. Okay, we're talking about neutral spine where you've got that level position between the pubic bone and your 2 hip bones. And we've got imprint where you've got that lower spine just pressing down slightly into the mat for a little bit more security. Yeah, okay, so I want you to this time just think about that imprint position. So just press a little bit down onto that lower mat, squishing down a little bit more, perhaps eliminating the lower back arch that you might have in neutral. Okay, we're going to breathe in and just gently exhale as we tuck our chin into our chest and lift our head, neck and shoulders, and our hands come up to roughly thigh height. Okay, so halfway up the thighs. Bring your right knee into your chest, please, and really pull that right knee in. Okay, so we're going to just hold here, breathe in, and then extend the leg towards the end of the mat and stretch the thigh bone. Bring the knee into your chest, breath in, exhale, send away. And 2 more. And last one. Bring your knee into your chest, holding on to the back of your head now, just cradling the back of the head to make sure we haven't strained the neck at all. Neck is nice and long. Now we're going to go ahead and lift your opposite knee. So your left leg comes slightly off the floor in a hover. Go ahead and extend the right leg now way along the mat. So your left leg's in hover, knee just towards the ceiling, doesn't have to be too tucked in. And we're going to lift and lower with a straight leg on the right and down towards the hover position, about 20 centimeters off the mat, lifting towards the ceiling and lowering. The foot is in point, okay, so you're just having a bit of a stretch across the front of the leg as you come down in parallel to the mat. And as you come up, a bit of a focus on the hamstring and down. Last one. Now, of course, if that left leg being up is too much, go ahead and put it down on the mat. That is not a problem. Pausing with the leg up towards the ceiling if you can. And then everyone go ahead and extend your left leg out and away along the mat. Okay, we're going to just take it into scissors, breathing in, exhale, and switch for 4, for 3, for 2, For 1. Bring both legs together, knees into tabletop. Let your head, neck and shoulders come down onto the mat and both feet down on the mat and your palms as well by your sides. Okay. Doing a second version, a second set of this on the other side. Breathing in, nice long spine. Don't forget, even lying down here. Length from the crown right to the tailbone. Pressing down into imprint. Our chins are tucking into that throat space as we peel up off the mat into abdominal curl. Arms lifting to halfway up your thighs. Alrighty. Bringing your left knee now in towards your nose. Really bring it in beyond tabletop if you can. Breathe in and then exhale. Stretch that leg away and point. Breathe in and exhale. Extend away. 4 more. Breathe in and exhale. And 3 and 2. And this last one, pausing with the knee in towards you. Taking your head now behind the back of your hands behind the back of your head just to support it slightly. And then lifting your right leg, if you want, off the floor. So you're in hover. And we're going to go ahead and extend your left leg now out towards the end of the mat. Okay. At this point, if you feel like it's too much in the back, just go ahead and pop your foot down. And we're going to take ourselves into single leg, straight leg extension towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. Okay, stretching as much as you can through that back of the knee joint, okay? Trying to train that leg to be a little bit straight if you can, and get some nice extension at the back of the leg. Last 2. And last one. If you have got your leg on the floor, go ahead and lift it off the floor for me. Extend your leg now out along the end of the mat so both legs are straight and reaching at a right angle. Breathe in, exhale and switch. Breathe in, exhale and switch. Last push for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Gorgeous. Well done. Bringing your knees back into tabletop. Head, neck and shoulders back down onto the mat. Feet back down to the mat one at a time and hands by your sides. Gorgeous. Well done. Tucking those feet slightly up towards your bottom, a little bit closer than they were a moment ago. Feel the whole of the sole of the foot on the floor. Yeah, so that again, as in the postural checkup, wiggle the toes, talk to the toes, the heels, the balls of the feet, and perhaps even the outside edge of the foot slightly engaged as well. That little line we talked about before between the little toe and the heel. Okay. We're going to do 3 articulated bridges to begin with, just to mobilize the spine. Alrighty, so first thing I'd like to do is remind yourself of your neutral spine. Okay, so this is our starting position, where you may recall we had that lovely level bowl of soup. We've had lots of visuals, perhaps as a compass from the belly button to the pubic bone, to the hip, to the hip. It's nice and level and horizontal to the floor. Yeah, so you've got no pulling up to the pelvis or pushing away. That is your start position. So first of all, of course, we're going to go ahead and lift the pubic bone. If it was a bowl of soup around this section here, the pelvis, it would almost be like you're rolling the bowl of soup and tilting it and tipping it all over yourself. Of course, who would do that? But anyway, we're going to have that bowl of soup tipping all over us and lift the pubic bone slightly off the floor. Now, just pausing here, so we're not going to go any further than just that sense of the belly, so the bottom coming off the mat. Pause here. Feel that sense of pushing your knee bones now away from you towards the end of the mat, almost as if you're trying to stretch the knee bone away from the hip socket. And maybe you'll feel a bit more of a hip stretch here. Then we sink back down that lower spine onto the mat and just roll into neutral. So 2 more times. Roll the bowl of soup, roll the pubic bone towards you, lift the bottom off the mat, just pause. Stretch into those kneecaps. Feel the stretch from the hips here. And then releasing back down towards the floor into neutral spine. And one more time, we're going to then hold up this time and pause. You're up, your bottom is lifted, your pubic bone, sorry, your knees caps are reaching away from the hip socket. And then we're going to start to lift a little bit more. So imagine you've got a string on the pubic bone. We're going to slightly peel up a little bit higher. So perhaps you're onto that lower part of the rib cage area. And then we're going to try and think about coming down through the mid-spine as much as we can, pushing into that belly button area and into neutral. So 2 more here. Lifting the first stage, stretch the kneecaps away, coming a little bit higher towards the lower part of the rib cage. Now think of dumping down right at that mid-spine if you can, whilst keeping the pelvis as high as possible, almost like a seesaw, and then releasing back down. Wonderful. One more time. We're heading up, 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 up. And we're onto that lower part of the rib cage and then releasing down. This last time we're going to head up and hold. Up we go, peeling up through the mid-spine, lifting, and perhaps you want to head a little bit higher. You might head onto the lower part of your shoulder blades. That is fine. Okay, so a bit beyond the lower part of the rib cage, but please not up onto the neck. We're not looking to create a huge, big, deep bridge at the moment. Okay, so we're here. Now, if you can, just pop your hands, both of them, across the chest plate. And I want you to imagine you've got one of those wonderful detonating bombs that you see in these amazing shows where they drop huge buildings, etc. I want you to imagine that you're pressing down to the rib cage, not with any great intensity, but the visual is pressing down through the sternum or the chest plate, and you're really pressing the lower ribs behind you across the shoulder blades down into the mat. Yes. Okay, so breathe in to the hand space and maybe let the whole body come up towards the sky and the rib cage and the sternum. As you exhale, press slightly down to the back of the rib cage area. And this is indeed the first start facilitating the roll down. Okay, so breathe in, exhale, press down with the sternum and chest plate through the back onto those ribs and the shoulder blades. Now then continue the rib cage coming down towards the floor in the mid spine and the lower spine, and roll back towards the floor with into your neutral pelvis. One more time, rolling up, peeling up into your bridge. Nice and slowly up towards the shoulder blade area, with the hands or without. If you can do it without the extra visual, think about pressing down to the back of the shoulder blades. You're still belly in, you're still pelvis up as you roll down, and try and get these vertebrae to work individually into neutral. Hands by your sides if they're not. If they're back on your chest plate, then go ahead and put the hands down by your sides. Lifting up now into your bridge and pause here. If your hands as your hands are by your sides, I'd like you to let your elbows stay where they are. Go ahead and pop your hands on the hip bones, okay? Again, pressing the knees away from you or pulling them towards the end of the mat. You might feel it's like sort of pulling down on the whole of the body. That's fine, okay? It will be a little bit less like you're dumping into the shoulder blades, and maybe take some pressure off the pelvic floor area. Sorry, not pelvic floor, the hamstring area, which can cramp a little bit for some people. Bring up the pelvic floor area as well, helps also just take the weight and pressure off the hamstrings. Okay, so folks, I'd like you to just imagine now on your bottom cheeks, you've got some nice bits of paint going on there. It's always got a bit of a paint visual going on. And I want you to imagine that you're just sliding your bottom cheeks left to right on the mat underneath you. And you're just sliding from left to right. Okay, and you're just creating a little bit of a smudge from the left to right there on the mat. Another visual is nice to maybe think about one of those old-fashioned typewriters. You know, when you get to the end of the line, you go bing, send the top of the trolley back across. Think of your hips as sliding left to right like that trolley. Okay, okay. Now we're going to just pause in the center. I want you to dump down into that rib cage again. So just gently push down the sternum by about 1 vertebrae or 2, and then slide your hips from side to side, making that lovely little painted squishy smudge on the floor or the typewriter. And then let your spine come down a little bit more. And then typewriter again, left to right. And then down a little bit more, typewriter left to right. And down a little bit more, and left to right. And a bit more, left to right. Most effective possibly in this lower area as you're shifting left to right, most close to the rib cage, so to the pelvis. Oh, all over my vocab this morning, left to right, as you head down onto the base of your spine and onto the back of your sacrum. Well done. Okay, one more time up into the bridge, but this time with hands by the sides, lifting up, 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 up. Up we go, pausing here. Okay, again, pressing into those kneecaps, okay? Tummy's in, pelvic floor is strong. And I want you to use a bit more of the arms this time now, pressing into the back of the arms. Go ahead and lift your right heel and place it back down. Lifting your left heel and back down, and right and down and left and down. This time lifting the right heel, pause, press into your left foot. Arms are pressing into the floor, tummy, pelvic floors in, lift your right leg into marching. Now, imagining that we've got a flat back, there's no hinging, so there's no articulation or curling. We're just going to lower the bottom towards the floor and back up just for 4. So this is 3 more. So you've got a tabletop leg and you're just aiming that bottom cheek down to kiss the mat. And this is our last time. And pausing up. Now just take your right leg and place it onto your left leg. So you've just rested it slightly. Okay, so at this shape I can show you now. Okay, again, we're going to lower the bottom towards the floor for 4, for 3, for 2, for 1. Pausing here for our final challenge. Leg towards the sky. Go right ahead, straight on in there. Bottoms down and up. If you want to just modify this back to one of the previous levels, please do. Or you just want to have both feet down, that is fine as well. Pausing now, place your foot back down on the mat. Dump into the back of the rib cage, press down, articulating onto the floor, and pause there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and work on the other side. Make sure you're nice and symmetrical, heels up towards your bottom. And we're going to head straight up into our lovely bridge lift. So lifting into bridge. Okay, so you've got the knees just slightly pulling towards the end of the mat and arms are pressing in towards the floor. Lift your left heel this time and up into your tabletop position. Okay, so hinging down towards the floor and up. So if you're finding now this is all getting a bit too much, okay, you can continue with your articulation if you want to. Just 2 more, folks. Or you can place both feet down and you can just do these hinge lifts without having any legs elevated at all. Okay, that is fine. Okay, left leg now crosses over the right knee. So you get a bit of an opening of that front of the pelvis. Now breathe in, stand into those arms and then press down towards the floor with the buttocks and straight on up with a lift, working those glutes. And lift, just 2 more. Breathe in when you lower, exhale as you lift. Final one, if you can push on through for these last 4 reps, you've got our leg towards the ceiling. We've done some nice extension work. Go ahead, bottoms down to the floor and up and down and up. Last 2 and up. Last 1 and up. Well done. Place that foot back down on the mat and then again press into this lovely sternum through the back of the rib cage, down through the mid spine, peeling into the lumbar spine, and we're on the mat. Gorgeous. Well done. Knees into the chest. Gentle roll around if you wish. Really small little circles, massaging the lower back, and then we've got our feet down and our arms are out in T. Palms are face up towards the ceiling, arms are in parallel to the shoulder here, the shoulders. We're going to go and lift our knees now in towards the chest. So breathe in, exhale, double knees into chest. And if you can, we're going to extend our legs towards the ceiling, okay? So you've got your shoulder blades down. We practiced last week. We've got that lovely lower part of the spine in imprint as well. And of course, both parts of the back of your pelvis are also equally imprinted on the floor. So we talked about having these shoulder blades super glued down last week when we were doing our rotational work or side to side movement with the knees in bent position. Now we've got our legs up to the sky. So gluing the shoulder blades down, let's go ahead and see if we can take those legs together over towards the right, not very far. So your left bottom cheek will just lift slightly and you're pulling down with that left shoulder blade to keep you from rolling over. Come back to center with a breath in and exhale. Breathing in, exhale over towards the side. Oh, we're over towards the left, right shoulder blade pulling down. Breathe in, exhale as you come back to center. Breathing in, exhale towards the right. And back to center. And breathe in, exhale to the left. And center, gorgeous. Just bend both feet and let the feet rest on the floor for a second. Okay, so we're going to work into our double leg lowers. Again, we did some work last week where we had our cushions and we had our bottoms supported slightly or lifted slightly by our hands coming underneath us. What I'm going to ask you this week is to have your arms still in T, nice big stabilizer. Bring the shoulder blades back and down, knees into your chest, and go ahead and have your legs towards the ceiling for a double leg lower. Now we can modify by not going very far, all righty. If you wish to have your legs at tabletop, you're more than welcome to just let the knees extend away from you in the tabletop position. That's your modification, if you feel uncomfortable in the lower back. So let's go ahead, breathe in. Lengthen the legs towards the ceiling, pinning the back of the pelvis down into the floor. Exhale as you lower the legs, not too far, okay? It's totally up to you. There'll be no arching in the lower back, pulling in through that belly button, and legs come back towards the ceiling. Breathing in, exhale, lower. Just 2 more, breathe in, exhale, lower. And final one, breathing in, exhale, lower. And again, bring your knees into your chest. Go ahead and hold on to your kneecaps just to switch off all those muscles that are firing up at the moment and holding everything in place. So just let the knees hang out here for a second. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is just have a little bit of an introduction to lifting the bottom off the floor, and then to see if we can avoid that by pulling our legs into our nose. It'll all become apparent in a moment. So your hands are in your kneecaps. Okay, this is going to help us with the first stage of this, right? Your feet are next door to each other, as are your knees, probably pretty much neighbors at this present moment. Still shoulder blades back and down, belly in, okay, and the pelvis is still pressing down into the lower floor at the moment. What I'm going to get to do is breathe in and exhale. And as you exhale, pull your kneecap slightly towards you, and maybe you can feel a little bit of a lift of that lower part of your spine, your tailbone maybe coming slightly off the floor, and then peel it back down. Okay, so nice and easy, breathing in, exhale, knees coming in. Of course, we're helping this happen slightly by using our arms and shoulders to pull these kneecaps in. Okay, so one, 2 more times, breathe in, exhale. And last one, breathe in, exhale. And placing your hands now back out into the T position. We're going to see if we can emulate that movement this time without the use of our hands and arms. So we'll see how we get on. It might be that there's not very much of a hold as you lift, and it might be just a pull up and down, okay? But you're trying to think knees to nose and release, all right? So for 4 times, 4 repetitions, breathe in, exhale, shoulders pulling down as you pull your knees into your chest and down. Last 3, sorry. And 2. And last one, big exhale so we don't balloon that belly. And pause there. Okay, so let the feet come back down to the mat for a second. So you were fully aware then that by bringing your bottom slightly off the floor and the tailbone off the floor, you could get your knees and indeed your thigh bones then closer to your chest. We're now going to try and keep the tailbone down, okay? So the difference will feel like there's no lift of the spine, there's no curl of that tailbone, there's no tuck of the pubic bone, but you're using your core and your hip flexors to bring that leg forwards towards your nose, okay? So arms are in T. Bring your knees up towards the ceiling, extend your legs, okay? So by which I mean you're trying to pull the knees towards our nose, but without lifting the tailbone, as I'm showing you now, okay? So the tailbone stays down. So when you're ready, breathe in, pin the tailbone down, and just pull the knees towards your nose. No lift of the tailbone. Spot the difference. Breathe in. Exhale, pin the tailbone down. Pull the knees to your nose, but bring that belly in. As the belly comes in through the other side, you'll be pushing down that coccyx, stopping it from lifting. Last one, breathe in, exhale. Double knees to nose, gorgeous. And then place those feet back down on the mat. Okay, we're going to add these things in together for our double leg circles. We will know we've done single leg circles. We know what's going on there. I'm going to get us to try our double leg circles this session. So if you feel like this is just not comfortable for you, you're more than welcome to bring your legs into tabletop. Imagine the knees are the top of perhaps a top of an ice cream cone, alrighty. And I want you to forget what's going on below the knee joint and the ankle, okay? It's the knees. I want you to think about bringing into your nose, over to the side, away and out and back, okay? So this is your modification. If you want to do this one more time together, go ahead. We can all do this as a little preparation. When you take your knees to your nose, to the side, away, the other side, and back to center. For those who want to go to our fully extended legs, which you've just been prepping, legs towards the sky, pin that tailbone down. Okay, so bringing your knees towards your nose. One day I'll get that. Knees towards your nose. And then let's go ahead and take your legs out towards the left-hand side. Your right hip will lift slightly. That's cool, but you're going to keep your right shoulder pinned down. Lowering those legs to our maximum range for our double leg lower. Take your legs now out to the right-hand side and sweep them around up to your nose. Switching direction for everybody in tabletop or straight leg. Let's go ahead. Legs to nose, out towards the side and round to your double leg lower, maximum range. We've been there already. Shoulder blades pulling down, belly in, out towards the side and front towards your nose. Now we're going to just continue all the way, each way, without stopping and worrying about the pulling in or going back to center in between. Okay, so you're just going to work from one direction and around to the other, just switching around. Breathe in to start, exhale, 360. Breathe in to start, exhale, 360. Well done, last two. And last one. Great stuff. And then for everybody, place those feet back onto the mat, hands down by your sides. Bring your knees into your chest. Gentle rock from side to side. We're going to tuck our chin into our chest, and we're going to bring our knees up, or you can bring yourself rolling over towards me to sit up, or just extending one leg to the ceiling and rolling into sitting. Well done. Okay. So let's go ahead and find ourselves in the middle of the mat, and hands are facing towards the back edge of the mat. Holy moly, one of the few times you do this. Okay, fingers are facing towards the back of the mat. Bringing those feet up fairly close. And shoulder blades back and down. Find that lift through the lumbar spine we've worked on this term and last term. Just lifting and lengthening, imagining the lumbar spine, the lower spine, pulling up and away out of that pelvis, creating some space. Shoulder blades are back and down, necks are long. And we're going to just take our heels off the floor, okay? And you're really resting now on the back of the balls of the feet, not just the toes. You might get a bit crampy, so the back of the balls of the feet. And the legs are reasonably close together, okay? Not necessarily glued to a point of discomfort, but get them staying close. Now, trying to think that this upper part of your body from the pelvis up is nice and still. And once you now just let the knees head out towards the left side, your right bottom will lift, and that is fine. But you're really trying to keep a controlled torso. Yeah, so that's as controlled as you can. Breathe in and exhale, knees heading out towards the left. So we try not to dump into the shoulders. Try not to twist to go with it. Okay, you're staying nice and controlled. Come back to center. One more time over side. Breathing in, exhale towards the side. Looking out, pulling that spine nice and long. And belly in, one more time to the right. And to center. Okay, so let's try it a little bit faster. All right, so breathing in, we're going to head to the side and center, to the side and center, to the side and center and side. Now, if you feel like you're slowly wiggling towards the end of the mat, you need to bring in a little bit more pull on the spine towards the ceiling. You want a bit more core control, because otherwise you just end up walking down the squishy part of your bottom, okay, and you get slowly lower and lower and lower. So keep disconnected if you can. And finishing there. Okay, just go ahead and extend the legs and just flop forward for a moment. So we're going to make this into our can-can. For the can-can, just hang out there for a second. If you want to have a look over towards me, then please cast your eye this way. All righty, so for the can-can, we're just going to take ourselves into our first version this morning, so not too intense. We're going to head to 1 to the side, a 2 to the side, a 3, and then the inside leg is going to kick and extend, knee staying on knee, come back to the side where you're tucked in nice and strong through the core, and switch back to the other side. 1, 2, 3, and kick. Okay, and it's a 1, a 2, a 3, and kick. All right, so bring yourself into your sitting position, shoulders back and down. Up onto the balls of the feet, find that nice lift from the pelvis. Yeah, the belly should be in. Almost try and think about you staying separate and still with the core. Well done. Breathe in. Let's head over towards the right. Everyone, let's go for number 1 to the right and 2 to the left. 3 to the right, and then you kick your inside leg and straighten knee on knee. Come back to the tucked in position and left for 1 and right for 2 and left for 3 and kick. Okay, let's speed this up. So it's a right, left, right, and kick, and a left, right, left, kick down, and a right, left, right, and kick, and a left, right, left, and kick. Well done, gorgeous. Legs extending and just reaching forwards. Just fold forward for a second. Okay. So this is a forward fold, not a spine stretch. Just hang out here for a moment. If you want to wiggle your legs at all, wiggle anything in your body, feel what you need to just switch off for a second, that's fine. Okay, so we're going to take those legs, we're going to widen them now to roughly the width of the mat. Alrighty, so I'm going to go ahead and face you. Alrighty, so you've got your legs roughly the width of the mat, and I'd like to go ahead and flex those toes up towards the ceiling. All right, so they're really pulling up, heels up towards the ceiling. Okay, so we are going to be taking our hands and placing them back towards the back of the head. So you've just got your arms by your sides, elbows by your sides rather, and legs are out left and right. Okay, so from here, guys, we're going to be just thinking about turning slightly towards our left. Okay, so we're looking down that left leg And I want you to just think about your nose. We're going to spine stretch as if we were just heading down that left leg individually. So sit nice and tall, perhaps a little tiny shuffling of those sit bones so you feel like you're perched underneath the bottom there. And then we're going to bring the belly button in. We're going to imagine that nose diving over first to release the cervical spine back of the neck. Then the rib cage is going to head down, 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 and we're going to peel down towards our knee on the left side and then peel back up, still pressing away those heels. If you can, turn to center. Okay, breathe in. Now let's have a look towards the right hand leg. Nose coming down towards your knee, rolling down. Remember the space we talked about last week in front of the belly still, so we're not trying to fold, we're rolling down and we're peeling back up and to center. Okay, breathe in and to the left, and we're rolling down to the left knee and back up and to center and turn to the right leg and down and center. Okay, facing center. So we're going to add on now for me, guys. I want you to just take your gaze towards the left and gently taking yourself forward into your spine stretch. Your nose coming down towards your left knee. We're pausing there. Pause, 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 pause. Okay, what I want you to do is bring your right elbow down towards the side of your left knee joint and look over towards the left side of your body. A little bit of a spine twist there. Now bring your gaze back down in parallel to the knee. And then I want you to look towards the right-hand side, lifting the right elbow, and the left elbow comes down to the left edge of your knee, and back down, and then peel back up into center. Down now towards the right knee. First of all, left elbow heading down towards the floor, so we're looking out towards the right. And then the right elbow heads down to the outside of the right knee and look towards the left. And then back down and parallel to the knee and peel back up. Wonderful. Placing your hands just gently to the front of you in between those kneecaps. We're going to do spine stretch forwards, but with our hands on the floor, okay? Last week, we enjoyed the ability to have a foam cushion over our head, and we were diving down and over towards the floor. This time, we're still trying to keep that space, but our hands are going to be our guide towards the center and the midline of these feet and legs. All right, so hands just gently touching towards the floor. Shoulder blades a bit back and down, so we're not looking to really crunch, okay? So what will happen is we'll do this, and we'll try and reach with our shoulders, and I want you to think I'm still going to keep my shoulders down, and I'm reaching with my spine and my chest, and I'm pushing my heels away. Yes, okay, so hands are by your shoulders are down by your pulling down from your ears. Breathe in, grow tall, and then still think lift with the spine and up and over we go. Lovely. Reaching forwards with those fingertips. You may not get very far, that is fine. Belly is coming in, heels are pressing away, shoulders are still pulling down, so we've got some clearance around those earlobes, please, guys. And look down just gently towards the floor. Peeling back up, just gently restacking the spine as if you were restacking up the wall behind you. And sit nice and tall for 2 more. Breathe in, lift, down with the nose gaze, coming down towards the floor, fingers sliding forwards, belly in, as if we're rolling over that basketball. Do you remember we talked about under the front of the belly button? Heels pressing away in the opposite direction. Okay, so they're stretching the hamstrings right out of the back and bottom of that pelvis area, and then you peel back up into sitting. Gorgeous, well done. Breathe in. Last time forwards, peeling down, 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 reaching belly in, heels stretching away, and forwards we go, keeping those shoulders clear from the ears, dropping the gaze, and then peeling back up and restack. Wonderful, gorgeous. Okay, so guys, I want you to bring your legs together. We're going to be sat along the mat, okay? And we're going to be lying on the mat. We're down long, down on the mat, hands are by our sides. Okay. So just as you did then, I want you to think about those toes pulling towards your kneecaps, all righty? So nicely, gently pulling the toes towards your kneecaps. When we do roll up, if you are a big fan of supporting your lower spine, if you know you have quite a serious arch in your lower, or like quite a big arch in your lower back, perhaps you know that you've got a little bit of backache this morning, you're a little bit tight, all those things, go ahead and just make it a little bit easier for you by putting that little cushion below that lower spine. All right, so this is going to be a neck pull. So if you're like sitting on the fence and you're not sure, I'd maybe grab a cushion or a towel. If you're just not, if you're fine with that, then fine, no worries. You don't need to worry too much at all. Hands are down by your sides. It's the toes pulling towards the knees that I want you to think about. I want you to think about that lovely lengthening of the thigh bone out of the hip socket and the gentle pulling in of the belly to your spine at the moment, okay? First things first, I'm going to just simply get you to tuck your chin to your chest and then breathe in. And exhale as you slide your fingertips towards your heels or ankles and start to think about that peeling up of the body, and then sit nice and tall, okay? Still pulling the toes towards your knees, we're now going to release back down, allowing some space at the front of that belly, tilting the pelvis so you keep the lovely pelvis nice and open, and then rolling back down, chin is tucked into your chest and down towards the floor. Okay, now if you do struggle, you're more than welcome to bend the knees slightly, and you're going to breathe in, exhale, and exactly the same, bring yourself up with knees bent, okay? Otherwise, we're breathing in. Sorry, beg pardon. Otherwise, first of all, tuck your chin to your chest. Now breathe in. And now exhale. And sit nice and tall. And releasing down. Okay. Try and think of that space still at the front of the body. You're not collapsing. You're just rolling vertebrae down one at a time onto the floor, pausing here. Go ahead for me, for everyone now. Pop your hands behind your back of the head. If you do struggle and you have to have your knees bent, you may want to continue this without the elbows by your sides, okay? Otherwise, trying to have those legs in a lengthened position will help us with neck pull. And that is what this is, neck pull preparation. Okay, so elbows. Go ahead and pull them in towards each other. Okay, so you can pretty much see that they're heading up towards the ceiling, okay? So not wide. You've really started to think about bringing those elbows in. And this is called the neck pull because we are actually going to be stretching and helping flexibility in the neck. So in the same way, elbows are to the ceiling. Let's take a little bit of a chin to chest first. Now we're going to breathe in. Exhale. And pull, 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 pull. As you come into sitting, open the elbows wide, sit tall, opening the chest, okay? Now bring the elbows together for me and peel back down, peeling down, down, down towards the floor, and elbows stay nice and close. Breathe in, lifting chin to chest, breathe in, exhale, sit tall, and elbows wide. Pause here with the elbows wide for me, guys. Pausing here. Now, everyone, even with your legs bent, I'd like you to straighten your legs. If you can, heels pressing away, toes towards you. We're going to work in hinge. Elbows are wide, as you know. We're going to be thinking now about this body working from the pelvis, not in articulation, but in a flat back. So we're going to breathe in, exhale, and start to head back into a hinge. Your elbows are out of sight. When you get to your maximum range, you may feel your legs are wanting to lift. Then bring your elbows in and release down onto the mat. Okay, wonderful. Elbows stay in. Wonderful. Chin comes into chest, breath in. Exhale. Sit tall, open the elbows. Breathe in, hinge back. When you maximum range hinge, releasing elbows close to each other towards your nose, your spine peels down onto the floor, and pause. This next time we're going to come up and pause up with our elbows not open. Okay, so bringing your chin to your chest, breathe in, exhale, and sit tall. Elbows are still forward, and what I want you to do now is gently, a little bit of encouragement on the back of the head, pull your nose down to your knees, and that is the completion of the neck pull. Okay, as we sit up, let's go ahead and open those elbows wide. Breathe in, press through the heels, hinge, 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 pull down with the shoulder blades. As you get to maximum range, elbows come in, peel back down. Okay, well done. Breathe in as you come, chin to chest, breathing in as you come into your roll up. And then we're going to just sit tall and then pull forwards, elbows and nose pulling towards your knees. Sit nice and tall, elbows wide. One more time. Breathe in, hinging back. Elbows come together, release down. As you get to the floor, bring your chin to your chest, breathe in. Exhale to help you come up into your sitting position. Elbows stay tall, peel up and over. Sorry, elbows are narrow as we stay tall, and nose to knees. And sit back up, elbows wide. Well done, gorgeous work. All righty. So from here, we're just going to take ourselves into our side lying. So I'm just going to get to side lie with our knees. Let's move this out of the way. Our knees are just going to be stacked towards the side. Okay, so it's not necessarily side work, not necessarily side lying. It's probably a bit of a misnomer there. So we're going to be tucked up with our legs towards the side. And I have our hand just a little bit further away from the shoulder, because as we do a little bit of movement, you'll find as you lift your hip, okay, then you will push and your shoulder will come over the wrist, all right? So don't tuck yourself up too close with the supporting hand over here. If you want to be on the right-hand side, then you can at least copy me. So your hand is on the right here and your feet are out towards the left. It's up to you. So knees are fairly stacked. And let's go ahead and pop our hand on our hip. Now, this is going to really tell us what goes on with our lying down when we don't have our spine in alignment. Okay, I want you to think about that lovely lift of the rib cage. Okay, so you're not slumped down into this shoulder. See how much you feel like you're hanging in that shoulder when you're like this. Lift the rib cage. Okay, and use the core. And as soon as the core fires up, that takes off a heck of a lot of weight off this shoulder. Okay, so bringing in that tummy, bringing even the pelvic floors. So your feet are sort of stacked on top of each other. If you find that tricky, all right, as we come into our hip lift, okay, you can just place the top foot slightly in front of the bottom foot, so you broaden out that support for you under there. Okay, so as I say, tummy in, lift of the rib cage, so you're not slumped down, hanging off this shoulder. And I want you to think also about the shoulder blades being back and down and the pelvic floors up. Everything is basically switched on. All righty. As we come into our hip lift, I'm going to ask you just to lift your bottom, the knees stay on the floor, and just lift your bottom off the floor onto this supporting shoulder. Neck is long, don't let the head hang down, and then we let the bottom come back into the floor. So this should be fairly lightweight in the shoulder. However, it might immediately be something that you think, this is a little bit too much. If so, go ahead, pop your hand down in parallel to the end of the mat, the fingers, the hands to the elbow, and you can just lift. And it's not quite such a huge, intense lift, because you won't get quite so far, and you've got a lot more weight spread across this hand to elbow. Okay, so that's your modification. All righty, so we're lifting and lowering, either arm straight or arm down on the floor. And pause with the bottom down. Let's just give the shoulder a rest a moment. We're going to just take our top knee and we're simply going to lift it towards the ceiling and lower, breathing in. Still nice and controlled. You're still imagining yourself, you know, we talk about that Lego man, that sense, the little top half of the Lego man. He's working furiously up here to pull everything up towards the ceiling, almost trying to pop himself away from these legs. In the meantime, the legs are doing what we know no Lego man can do, which is open towards the side. But that's where the visual ends. Okay, breathing in, exhale, lift. So you're working a little bit on the clam, external rotation of the thigh, and pause. Okay, for all of us now, we're going to combine those two things together. If that is too much, please choose one of those. If your shoulder's hurting, do another set of clams. If you're down the floor, you can do a mild hip lift. Maybe just do that. If you don't want to do clam, pick and mix. All right, if we can, we're going to think about adding the two together. We're going to breathe in, exhale as you lift our bottoms off the floor, and then we open into clam. Yeah, as you come down, the knees come together and the bottom settles, but we don't slump. We stay controlled. Breathe in, exhale, lifting the bottom and open with the knees into the clam and back down. Breathe in. Of course, for those of you who want to add in the arc, you're more than welcome to add arc overhead and back down. Okay, so you're adding in the arm movement, reminding you to lift that rib cage, yeah? So you can then see a little bit more movement across the thoracic area and the movement from left to right of the ribs and through the middle of your body and the waist. Breathe in, exhale, lift. Last two, choosing anyone if you want. Last one, breathe in, exhale. Well done. And release. Wonderful. Okay, pausing here, everybody now, whether your arm is up or down, or you want to modify and head down into that position, if you would rather, please do. We're going to extend our top leg out towards the end of the mat. Okay, from here, we're going to bring that top leg towards the front corner of the mat, and then we're going to take it to the back. Just touching, okay, so it's just a tiny little touch to the front. Breathe in, exhale, tiny touch to the mat at the back, and to the front, and to the back, and to the front, just a couple more, and to the back, last one, and to the back, And pause here, bringing both knees in together. Well done. Just taking the legs now, swinging them around to the other side of the mat. So they're just stacking to the side of you. As with before, so many modifications. Your feet can be stacked. You can have one in front of the other just to broaden that bottom position. How this shoulder works is different to the other shoulder, perhaps. So you may find on this side you want to be down and you think, well, you've got an injury or you know it's a bit stiff, then please go ahead and pop yourself down into the forearm position. Otherwise, remember that arm's a little bit further away than the shoulder, not necessarily directly under, just to accommodate a little bit of the movement as we do lift our bums. Okay, so hands are by your sides if you can, and think about that lift of the rib cage, the lengthening, the popping up of the top of that Lego man towards the side there for me. And we're going to breathe in, and the first thing we do is just lifting the hips. So bottom comes off the floor, knees are staying down, of course. You're just lifting the hips and lowering. Loads of space in this shoulder, please. I want you to think about creating that space, keeping that space, almost like you're lifting up and over the shoulder joint. Yeah, like you're diving the whole body up and over the shoulder joint. Well done. And last one, breathing in, exhale up and over. And pause there. Just give that little bit of a rest now for that arm if you want to as you go into our clam, breathing in and exhale and lifting our top leg towards the ceiling and lowering. Well done. Breathe in, exhale, lift and lower. Still pulling that rib cage up towards the ceiling if you can. Lovely length through the whole of the spine from base to crown. And lift and lower. Just as we worked on our clam last week, for those of you who are doing the clam, we didn't roll back as we opened our knee. We were literally just moving in isolation, that thigh bone. Last two. And final one. Adding the two things in together. So more than welcome to do one more set of the clams, or you can just do the simple one, work on the hip lift if you want. Go ahead and drop your arm down if you wish. And then we're going to take it up a level for those who can. So you're going to lift your bottom and open into clam at the same time, and then back down. Remember, light through the shoulder, lift up and over, not dumping down into that shoulder. That seems to be my favorite reference for today, dumping down into stuff. We're light and airy. Light and airy is what we're aiming for. Breathing in, exhale, lift and down. Adding in the arm for the last few, guys, if you wish to add in and get that extra lift of the rib cage and down. We've got 3 more. And 2. And final one. Well done, and pause there, gorgeous. From here, we're going to just extend our leg out towards the end of the mat. So please feel free if you want to head down. If you feel like as soon as you extend that that leg, you feel that that top side of the hip is a little bit too impinged because of course we've got this angle here, then go ahead, reduce the angle slightly by popping down onto that forearm. Okay, that is absolutely fine. Otherwise, we're going to just pop the leg towards the front corner of the mat. Just touch it, feel it, let it feel that length. Breathe in, exhale, and then touch and feel that back corner of the mat, reaching the hip flexor back. Breathe in and to the front. So this is not a huge rainbow hop, guys. We're not looking at a massive lift up towards the ceiling. We're just looking to just slightly lift and elevate it and touch it down and tap to the front. Slight lift and tap to the back. And tap to the front. And to the back. And to the front and to the back. Well done, gorgeous. Okay, pausing there, taking yourself down now onto the mat, just gently rolling back down onto your back for me. Hands are down by your sides. Okay, and arms are just, sorry, beg your pardon, legs are now long and out along the end of the mat. Well done. Okay, I'd like you to now bend your left leg and put your foot on the floor. So the foot is now just to the side of your right knee. So left foot is on the mat, just to the side of your right knee. Okay, and right leg is out towards the side. Take your arms and slide them out towards the side of the mat, just a little bit beyond the mat if you can. Okay, so you've kind of created this little V shape with the arms. Now I'd like you to think of your left kneecap. I'm going to ask you to just roll the left kneecap over towards the right-hand side of you. Okay, just gently over towards the right. Now, you might just want to just hold it there, the foot or toe still on the floor, and that might be enough for you. Alternatively, you might want to go ahead and get your right hand and just see if you can reach behind that left thigh slightly. Okay, so then your foot might just end up moving slightly to accommodate that hold of the left leg. Or you may rather just prefer to just rest and feel the stretch slightly there. Okay, bring yourself back through to center. Extend your left leg out towards the end of the mat and bend your right foot so that it's just placed down in the inside on the inside edge of your left kneecap. Okay, again, now we're going to let the right knee just head slightly over towards the left. Okay, so your bottom on the right hand side just lifts slightly off the floor and you're rolling over that left hip. Okay, so that might be enough. We'll get that left hand and go ahead and reach behind the right thigh and see if you can maybe hold onto that right thigh a little bit. Of course, that's a slightly deeper stretch for some people. It might be too much, in which case stay where you were just letting the right knee just hang over slightly towards the left, lifting the right buttock. That's fine. Okay, releasing your leg, bringing your legs back to center, placing the soles of your feet now together for a frog leg stretch. Just open out those thighs, feet together, knees out wide, hands on the belly part, sorry, the fleshy part of your belly. And just breathe into that belly button area. Imagine you're feeling that you're breathing in and you're pressing that belly button up to the ceiling. 2 more deep breaths in. And last breath in. Just support the back of your thighs as you bring your knees up towards the ceiling and roll the knees over towards the front. And we're going to roll into 4-point kneeling. Okay. From here, I would like you to just hang out in 4-point kneeling for a moment. And I want you to just think about your right hand, as we did at the beginning of the class, just gently reaching towards your right knee. Okay, come back through to center, breathe in, and left hand to left knee. And breathe in, right hand to left knee. And left hand to right knee. Finishing off where we started this morning, I'm going to get you to turn your left hand in. We're going to take it into a single arm circle. Slide your left hand to the front of the mat. Reach your arm up and over. Let the body rotate and twist now with that single arm circle. And back to the start position. And onto the right, breathe in, right arm extending forwards, up and over for a single arm circle. Okay, we're going to take the right arm into a circle and pause this next time. So right arm forwards, sweeping up and over, pause with the hand behind you. As it's just skimming past your thigh, just pause for me here. Now I want you to just gently ease back in a child's pose where your bottom heads towards your heels. Your left hand is now going to reach back towards the end of the mat behind you, and your right hand is going to reach forwards. If your shoulders come slightly out of alignment, that is fine. They won't be able to get very far without your bum twisting. So we're trying to keep the bottom in alignment with the heels, but the arms are reaching one forward, one back. Pull yourself back up into 4-point kneeling, and arm swings back up and over and into 4-point. Right arm forwards, sweeping up and over past your temple, follow with your gaze, and it settles just by the side of your bottom or your side of your thigh. Okay, reach, so eyes are come back down towards the mat in front of you, reaching now your hand towards your right heel, your bottom goes back towards your heels into child's pose, and then you're going to reach those arms away from each other, your left hand reaching forwards along the mat, right hand reaching towards your toes and the back of the mat there. Breathe into this stretch. Come back into 4-point kneeling. Align the front hand if you need to slightly, and then lift your arm back up and over and resting at the start position. Tucking your toes under, pushing up into our lovely V stretch or downward dog, just easing yourself into a V stretch just as you need to, pedaling those feet nice and gently. We pedal them by bending alternate knees and pressing the other heel into the mat. And I want you to this week just gently pause with those heels down. Press into the fingers, press into the palms of the hands, and I want you to lift the heels, both heels now off the mat, so you're right on the toes. And then I want to really get you to push your pubic bone away from you, as if you're really trying to lift up that bottom as high as you can towards the ceiling into our lovely raised heel, downward dog or V-stretch position. Hold there for a second and then relax the heels. This week, walking our hands towards our toes and see if you can see how far or how close you can get with those hands without those knees bending. If you need to then bend the knees, that's fine. And then we're going to just gently roll up, peeling up into standing vertebrae by vertebrae, belly in, pelvic floor strong, shoulder blades back and down into the center of the mat. All right. Very quickly for me, heels together and hands behind the back of your head. Okay, breathing in, exhale, knees just easing towards the sides and out, breathing in. Exhale, knees out Belly in, pelvic floors engaged. As you head down, breathe in. Exhale down, pausing down, lateral flexion to the right, easing that right elbow down towards the side. And come back to center, knees staying broad, belly in, pelvic floor strong. Breathe in and over towards the left with the left elbow, reaching down towards the side. And back to center. As your legs come together, release your hands down by your sides. Back into parallel with your feet. Breathe in, closing your eyes if you wish. In through the nose and out through the mouth. As you breathe in, grow tall, expand through the rib cage. As you exhale, send all your connection muscles and all your energies down through the soles of the feet for these last 2 breaths. Exhale down through the soles of the feet, through the base of the pelvis, down through the rib cage. Last breath. Open your eyes, and we are done. Thank you.